talking. Okay, welcome back everybody to Coffee and Art in the Morning. And so just getting a few giggles in between the episodes here. So one of which was Janet J. Merle, who is now doing Ustream as well. She is doing Inktober, as am I, but she's doing vintage toys. So if you follow her on Twitter, Facebook, I don't think she's on Instagram, but Twitter and Facebook, she's doing vintage toys. So I was telling her that when I went to the store this weekend, and I think she's already got this on her list. But when I saw I bought some inexpensive. I hate to say cheap, but they're inexpensive paintbrushes for some acrylic paint. I was running out of small pointy brushes, and I always just buy inexpensive ones because I'm really rough on my brushes, my acrylic paint brushes. But when I got these, I told Janet a minute ago before we hit record here. I said these reminded me of pickup sticks. Now, granted, I knew she already had that on her list for vintage toys, but I started laughing at it and just said, "Oh my gosh, that's so funny, pickup sticks?" And Janet replied, "Dee Dee, it was funny. I'm not spitting my coffee, but I am laughing." Janet. So anyway, so Janet will probably be drawing pickup sticks before the month's over, because I tell you, it gets a little tougher as the month goes on to think up things to draw in a series. I started trying to draw all reptiles and amphibians. I quickly found out that more than two frogs or two lizards or two of anything in black and white, you can't really distinguish them that much unless you're a, what is, I don't know what reptiles, I don't know. Anyway, it's hard to tell the difference between them when they're all in black and white. She's saving pickup sticks for her grand finale. Julie. So I'm going to go ahead and show you from. I've already shown day 1 through 12 on my Inktober. If you look in my playlist in Inktober, you'll see last year's Inktober and you'll see this year's Inktober up through day 12. So I'm just going to show you starting from day 13 through now, because yeah. Where's day 13? There's day 12. Did I skip a day? Yeah. Well, where's day 13? There's 12. Where did I do 13? I didn't skip a day, but I might have got my dates wrong. Or they're just out of order. Hang on. Let me find day 13. Where are you? Day 13. Hang on. I'm flipping through my book here. 5. Oh, there it is. Okay, so it is out of order. Okay, so here's day 13. And I'm just going to show you the ones we've done so far. A zoologist. Yeah, maybe that's what I'm thinking, Shell. Hey, Merdy. Hi, Miss Merdy. Hey, Whippy Carol. Yeah, Carol's doing bugs. Whippy Carol is doing bugs. So there's day 13, and they're all in this 8.5 by 11 page. Day 14, and this one nobody noticed, or if they did, they didn't say. I was waiting for someone to say something about this one. Maybe you could ink the skeleton amphibian for Halloween. Well, I did a skeleton gnat. You'll see it in a minute. I did a dinosaur head, and Hubster's calling it the bonehead. It's a dinosaur head skeleton. Anyway, nobody noticed this. All right, so I did these two lizards and I did them like mirrored, and nobody commented. I did them. It can go either way, and I signed them on both ways. So I signed it this way, and I signed it going this way, and nobody noticed that I double signed it. I was waiting for someone to say, but nobody did that I saw. But anyway, yeah. You're buggy, Whippy. Yeah, last year Carol did birds, and I did undersea things. This year she's doing bugs, and I started out with mostly reptiles and amphibians, but there's some other things. And so I started losing ideas, so I did start going into Halloween stuff. Okay, so here's a horned toad. This was day 15. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, the left hand, right hand thing. Yeah. Thanks, guys. And then day 16. Here's a turtle. This is actually an undersea turtle head, but I just put them in there. You know. Oh, well, you need to get on Twitter, Shell. So there's the turtle head, and I just did him kind of stylized with some, polka dots on his eyes, and having a little fun. They don't all have to look like a zoologist drew them. Day 17, I did an owl with the Celtic knot, and I'm trying to use Celtic knots and ink splotches in all of them too. The ink splotches I am pretty much using in all of them, but the Celtic knotting, I'm doing it in some. I'm trying to do swirls, knots, some different kind of Celtic designing in as many as I can. So that was day 17. Day 18 was one of these running lizards. And again, the Celtic knot. I think these are in Australia. But again, trying to do some ink splotches, tying the splotches in some way. You just thought I had a senior moment, CB? No, I did it on purpose. All right, day 19. Here's the skeleton, and I did it like it's coming out of an egg, and that was like Carrie's idea. She wanted I think she said a dinosaur coming out, but I went ahead and did a skeleton coming out, and then did kind of like a world up here at the top. I just thought that it was kind of cool effect. So yeah, so there's my dinosaur head. Draw me. I do have already did an alligator, Suzanne. And then this, I just did a moth. It was kind of like that. This day I was in a hurry, so I do have to say this is one of the hurried days. And Janet says the same thing. She's saving the pickup sticks for when when she doesn't have a lot of time. And then this was day 21. So I did have a little more time. This one took a couple hours. And I did spider webs, a rat on top of a black cat. And if you try to draw black cat on black background with black paws, yeah. And then I have a little bit of ink splot under his paw there. So I really like this one. Little spider in the corner. I like the spider webs. I like their whiskers too. Yes, they are. They are big. They're on an 8.5 by 11 sheet, Whippy. Yeah. And what I did, I'll show you in a minute. Let's see, that was day 21. Here's day 22. I did some pumpkin heads with an ink splot, a quill nib, pen nib, and then a couple of brushes sticking out of these. And then if you notice in their eyes are all little ink bottles. Ink bottles are in their eyes. So there's that one. Thanks, Jean. And then day 23, which was yesterday, I did a castle with a moon and a bat. Now, I've been not trying, it's been hard, but y'all know I love when I do space and anything. I love my white stars. So if you notice, this was the first one that I put any stars in. I've left them all black, except for like whiskers or stuff, but I have not put any white in the black background. I've left it very contrasty. Is that a word? I've left it very black and white with high contrast, but I couldn't resist putting a few little stars in this one over the castle. So that was yesterday. So that's as far as I got. So what I've done, let me show you here. I did templates. I took a cardstock and cut it out this size, and I went through my whole book and made templates on every page so that all the pages are in this rectangle. But the splatters and everything else come out of it. So some bits, pop out of it like the cat paw or whatever. I'm trying to have something, extend past the border on every page. And you like the pumpkins, pixie core, and good morning, by the way. When you do the solid background, yes, I'm painting. Yeah, I squeeze out some ink, and I just use this. I just squeeze out some ink and use a paintbrush for the background. And then for, well, let me get one here so I can kind of, let's see. So I paint the background with just ink and a brush, ta-da, okay? And then when I want to get up like in between the castle or, close up around the moon, I use my Pentel pocket brush, which let me find one. Oh, it's over here. My Pentel pocket brush for getting up in between tinier things. And then like the little windows, I'll just use like a Faber-Castell Pitt pen like this for like the little windows and all. So that's the different inks I use. No, I didn't do any of it with a nib. No, I only use nibs for calligraphy, for lettering most of the time. I mean, I've done a few things, but mostly I use my nibs for calligraphy, not for inking. I use a brush. Yeah, I use a brush when I'm inking anything, pretty much, or a technical. I call them technical pens, but fine pointed. This is the Faber Castell Pitt S, so small. So yeah, so that's all I've done so far. So what I need to do now is come over to a new page, and I keep a piece of paper behind it. So if anything does, like this almost could come through if I wasn't careful, depending on how wet I get the paper. I don't have much problem with this paper. And this is in I'll show you the book it's in. It's in this book here. Pen Sketchers, 8.5 by 11. And so all my Inktober's are, and I haven't torn any out. I will probably end up tearing them out because if I keep things in sketchbooks that I really want to keep track of, I forget what sketchbook they're in. So if I've done a lot of stuff that I like last year's Inktober, I took them all out of the book and put them in a notebook so I know where they are. So I might do that with these as well. So we'll see. Yeah. Thanks, Terry Trouble. Yeah. You can get them on Amazon. I got mine at Jet Pens. Same thing for like where I sketch with my graph gear. I use the '07 blue lead. Um, it is, I got it at Jet Pens too, but it's more expensive, a little bit more expensive at Jet Pens than it is on Amazon. But I like Jet Pens. I try to order at least, once a month, every other, which I do have a list. Where's my list? Anyway, I do have a list of things I want to get. Cameron, with his birthday money, actually bought himself a fountain pen. So I need to find out what kind of fountain pen ink or cartridges he's using, because I was going to buy him some refill for his fountain pen because apparently he loves his fountain pen. My 17-year-old grandson loves his fountain pen. So, okay, so I am going to go ahead. I'm going to zoom in a little and we'll try to see if we can, keep the light. Maybe, I don't know if I need more of a light or more hot light, or maybe when I zoom in, we'll be able to see. That's the problem with trying to draw a sketch, whether it's for Inktober or any kind of sketch on white paper. Any kind of sketch for white paper, it's the lighting. It's tough. It's a tough one, people. It's a tough one. So that's why you usually see me drawing. That's why you usually see me sketching in, oh, it's a little flashed out there. You'll see me drawing on the craft color paper. Let's see here. Hang on, guys. Let me get something to get my sherry card. I'll draw on craft paper with a white pencil so it shows up. Oh, Iffy, it's National Bologna Day. Just get bologna, mister. Can't help it. Mr. Mom, if y'all remember Mr. Mom, and he was waiting at the deli. Jet pens, yes, they do have a starter of brush pens. I actually bought the starter of the brush pens, Janet. I kept I think I got this Pentel pocket brush in the starter pack. I think there's like 6 brush pens in it. I got this one and like 5 others. And I think I did a show and tell on it back when I got them. But I gave Cam and one of his art girlfriends each one. And yeah, maybe I gave Cameron 2. Anyway, this is so far my favorite. I hear people talk about the Kuretake brush pen number 13, but I haven't bought it. This one's been fine. I don't do tons of inking. That's one of the things that I like about Inktober is making me do some inking because I don't do it that much. Since I don't really do calligraphy anymore. I mean, I do the occasional show and tell of calligraphy, or I do it. There's a dojo here in town that I do certificates for, but I really don't do much calligraphy anymore. So to ink, you know, um, yeah, to ink, again, you can buy samples of bunches of different fountain pen ink. Yeah, and I don't know if Cam would be up for wanting to try a bunch. Once he finds something he likes, he wants to stick with it till like he wants to go to the next thing. So I don't know if he'd want to be, switching out different colors and different inks and in his pride and joy fountain pen that he bought himself. Yeah, I would do it, Janet. Yeah, I would so do it. Yeah, I do have a parallel pen that Miss Lisa sent. I do love the parallel pen, and somebody also, no, was it Jan? Who was it? Somebody, I don't know if it's somebody here, messaged me a pen that you can do calligraphy with. It's like a parallel pen. I forget who messaged me in Facebook Messenger. Had a little video, and you can do like ombre ink, like it'll ombre. Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah, see, Muse. She has a fountain pen she's loved for 30 years. Exactly. So, anyway, enough talk, more art. So, again, it might be a little tricky to see me draw, but I want to go ahead and do my Inktober. So, what I want to do, and I have to find me a reference here in my iPad here, I want to draw per a couple of suggestions before I hit record. A raven, somebody suggested a cemetery like with the gravestones, a raven, and because I want to draw feathers, a feather at least. So I'm thinking maybe a tombstone with a raven on it, because I've kind of moved on, I've kind of moved on to Halloweeny stuff. Thanks, Blade, for that term, Halloweeny. And so let me just find some raven references. Let me get my messages are locked up. 1 minute, please. I just bought a set of parallel pens. Thanks to Heather. Yeah. Okay, so Whippy said that those are the Pilot parallel pens that do a gradient of colors. So I haven't tried it. I just saw that video and it looked really cool. But I just have my one parallel pen that Lisa sent me. And what they do, it's like a parallel pen. I don't have it right here, but it's like a split nib. So when you put some pressure on it, it widens and it just flows. It's just really nice. But again, I don't do a lot as much inking because y'all know I do painting. My color pencil and acrylic paint is my main mediums. You're happy not to be playing. Oh my gosh. Dorothy said, Suzanne made me buy some too, and I already had the set. Dorothy is enablers around here, I'm telling you. All right, so let me look at some images of some ravens. There's one with the open mouth, and I mean, they're all in different positions. Wings, flying, sitting. Of course, most ravens that you see are just like sitting. So I'm just wondering if I want to do one like just sitting on a tombstone. It's got to be something I can see. These ravens are kind of hard to see. That one's kind of cool. I mean, I don't copy them exactly. I mean, I'm just, I got like 1,000 ravens here I can pick from. Um, And I remember I'm trying to keep something coming off the edge. So you have to just give me a second to, there's some, like the head. I don't know if I want the full body, like I have to look up exactly if I do a tombstone. Again, you're probably not going to be able to see me do much in here. That's going to be kind of big, I think. Because I want the raven is going to be oversized compared to the tombstone, your typical tombstone anyway. Yeah. Maybe some cracks in it or something like that. Maybe we should put, you know, Poe on here, like just the word Poe, the raven. So, and I probably should do it in Old English, some kind of little bit of Old English look to the lettering. So thanks everybody for hanging out. I did a video. I haven't put it up yet. Where's my little eraser? I love this, Janet. I love my little eraser Janet sent. It just gets right up in there. Tiny little bits. um, Forgot what I was going to say. I'm getting in the zone. Can you tell? I was thinking his tail could stick out, or maybe his beak off of this side, or you know. But I mean, he's going to be way oversized, you know, for a for the size of the tombstone. But I have not put any letters in anything yet, so maybe I'll do that. I might get a calligraphy pin out for that. And what I do is I sketch it out, then I ink over it, and then any blue pencil that shows left, I just erase. Okay, so let's see. Let's see what I like here. There's so many to pick from. I mean, the positioning of the raven. I could have him kind of landing down on here. A skull. I already did the dinosaur skull, so I don't really want to do any skulls. Let's see. Like the idea of the Poe. Thanks, honey Jill. Hmm. Let's see. Let's be more specific. A beating telltale heart. Yeah, if I added any color in these, Marilyn, a red heart would be nice. But I'm trying my best, and it's hard because I love black and white in one color. When I've inked things before, that's how I always ink things, black, white, and one color. But I'm trying to keep it all black and white for Inktober. So let's just do like maybe a raven landing on God, there's hundreds of ravens landing. Let's just find something here. Um, Bad landing. Yeah. Well, yeah, see, that's what I want is one feather. I want one loose feather. So I'm kind of, all y'all are on the same page with me. Okay, this one looks pretty good for a landing raven. Okay. I want to tilt him a little different though. Let's tilt him a little more landy landy. Yeah, I want one loose feather. So I'm just going to kind of sketch out. It's going to be very light, guys. You probably won't be able to see very much. But I want the whole page in here, so you'll see it when I start to ink it. So I'm just going to kind of sketch out now. And again, it's going to be a black raven on a black background. So I'll have to put, so I think his feathers will come up on this way. You know, I'll have to have some white kind of outliney stuff. And here's one thing that I did not think of when you know, when I knew I was going to go outside the edges. I should have drawn all my borders. You know, I used just a template on all of them, right? See, I just use a template on all of them to make a little matted area, you know, a little section because I wanted them all to fit within that confine. Well, when I drew them all, I drew them with ink. I just took my ink pen and drew around the template on all the pages, not thinking, oh, you're going to have some go off the edge. And so I'm having to white out with paint. I'm having to white paint out some of the edges where the black ink doesn't go. Because now it's like I can't have some black edges in some of these, so I'm having to paint them out. But anyway, so that, yeah, live and learn on that. Okay, so let's see here. And I like my little Terry eraser. I mean, my little Janet eraser. Janet sent this to me. It's the tiniest little thing. So I can get in there in little areas. If I need a, you know, you have this one for a big area. Like when I finish drawing everything, I'll take my white, this eraser and erase all the blue lines left over. So yeah. I'll tell you who draws some good birds, and that's Whippy last year. I don't know if I even want an eye on it. May just be nice to have just kind of a silhouette. Might just do kind of a silhouette. Just get the main shape in here. Now, do I want these tail feathers to come over? If you have any questions, put them in caps. And I want them kind of craggly looking. I mean, I want them straggly, like kind of, you know, the feathers all kind of, you know, like this. Oh. Okay, so there's kind of the shape of him. Now I have to decide, maybe he'll have a feather in his mouth, in his beak. He's a little thin. Ravens are pretty puffy. I'm just going to have two legs there. It looks so scraggly. Oh my gosh. All right. No, I want one leg in front of the other here. Actually, you know what? I think I want one leg kind of up in the air so you can kind of tell he's landing. You know, and his little claws all kind of, that would be cool to have those claws in white. But they have a back leg. I'm just talking it out, guys. And then their little front claws kind of come out like that, and they have one in the back. Something like that. I don't want it to look like he's a big eagle-taloned thing, but yeah. Like one there, one there, one there, and there, like four. Well, I hope y'all are keeping yourselves entertained because I'm just like trying to get this done, guys. Then we'll do something with either some art cards or I don't know. Kind of need to do art cards. I really need to do art cards. Okay, his body's too big. His body's too big. I want him puffy, but he needs to kind of be scaled down a little bit, I think, to have a more dramatic wing effect. He's going to start looking like, I don't know what. I want him to kind of look like he's coming in for a landing. See, now he's too skinny, but he looks skinny in the reference, too. Let's fatten him up. Like on the back side there. There we go. That's a little better. Oh, no. Yay for our cards. So I'm just going to paint those feathers in with ink. We'll see how this works because I'm going to wing. If it doesn't turn out, guys, I'll just do another one, right? I'll do another one. But I guess my idea here is to almost have this like a silhouette. And so I'll paint in those wings and his little head's too. There we go. Yeah, that's a little better. We'll make him look like a raven. But what I want to do is have, now I have to decide how I want the feather. I think I want it like this. No, then he looks like a raven with the dove always has a, yeah, that's not going to work. How do I, maybe he doesn't need a feather in this one. Maybe we could do a feather in another one. Hey, Third Terry. You know, I could just have some feathers floating down. You know, maybe 2 or 3 feathers floating down, like one coming over the gravestone, the tombstone, something like that, and maybe one over here. So we'll have 3 little feathers just floating down. What do y'all think? Okay, all right. Let's just start. Let's just see what happens. I'm gonna pour out some ink. The talons look like spiders. Well, they're just sketched in. I do want them creepy looking. I do want the talons to look kind of creepy. But let's see. I'm going to go with the bird first. Now, I do have to kind of let the ink set in different, you know, I can do a little bit hitting it with the heat gun, but it does take a little bit of setting up. Let's see. What brush do I want? Let's do my, what brush do I want? My pickup sticks? Oh, I'm sorry, Janet. I can't help it. All right, let's see. I do want something a little fluffier, a little bigger. Let's go with this one. I'm going to go with a little bigger brush because I'm going to fluff out his wings. All right, so let's see here. Let's see what we can do. There's only one shot at this. If we have to start over. Pin coming. A pin coming out of the mouth since it's Poe's grave. I like that, Sherry. Thank you, Sherry. We're going to have a pin. Let's have it come all the way out here. You know. Thanks, Sherry. I like that. All right. Let's see what we can get done. Now, like I said, if this doesn't turn out, I'll just draw it again later. It's no big deal. It's no big deal. All right, but let's go ahead and try to get him. Okay. it's, it's yeah, this isn't right here. I don't know. One look like it's coming in for a landing, but he has like a weird shaped head. Bless his heart. uh, yeah. Okay. Let's do another little thicker like that. And we can put some white, white touches in there if we need to. All right. All right. So there we go. Something like that. It's a little odd looking to me. It really is. It needs a little bit thicker right in here. Let's do a little bit thicker. All right. And I do want it a little creepy. So I'm going to make a little kind of, I think his wings just a little odd shapes at the end. So he makes it look just a little bit more jaggedy and creepy. Like, ooh, 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 ooh. What are we doing? We don't know, QBF. We have no clue what we're doing. I'm drawing a raven for Inktober. All right, so now what I got to do is I got to leave some white around it. So I'm going to leave some white around the pin there. I should get a smaller brush now. And this will be, I'll do that with this pen too, a smaller brush. Okay, so all this now. All right, so this is how I tackle the background. And we're going to do some fluffy little white feathers coming out into the night. And see, like I touched his head right there. We'll fix it. We'll fix it. It'll be fine. I'm just trying to get kind of close. All right, I got to keep turning it because this ink is all wet, remember. Okay, I got to decide where I'm going to want those feathers here in a minute too. You know what? I might just paint right over them. I think I'm going to just paint over those feathers and put them in white ink. Except the ones on the tombstone there. So that's what we'll do. I'll just leave a little indication of where I want it right there. Okay. I'm not really watching chat a whole lot, guys, because I'm trying to kind of concentrate a little. We're going to make it work. We'll make it work. Yeah, we're going to have feathers down here. We have feathers down here, here, and here. And we're going to have some indications on his body, too. Give me some time, guys. Just be patient. Just a minute. And I do kind of want the grave to be a little wonky. Need a little more ink. Again, there's going to be the feather right there, feather right there. Right there, okay. So, and then I got to decide where I'm going to have it behind that ink pen. Thank you, Sherry. All right, so let's go around the whole thing here as much as I can because I can get in here with my smaller brush pen, my Pentel pocket brush. Right now, I'm just trying to use as much as I can with the big brush to fill it in so we can kind of get crack-a-lack in here. I'm kind of moving a little faster than I normally would, I gotta say. I use my pocket brush to go along there. And that's going to be black in there, right in here. And then behind here, behind the nib, I'll have this will be my ink splot. You know, I'm trying to do an ink splot on every one. Something like that. And then what I do is, before I get into the details, I know this is going to look like what? But this is how I do it. I get my brush wet. with water and water down the ink, and then I start splattering. I want splatters on all of them, and this is what takes the longest to dry. Even when I hit it with the heat gun, guys, these splots take at least 30 minutes. So we might do, I was going to say we could do something else and come back to it, but I really wanted this to be all Inktober. I mean, this particular video. All right, so we'll see what we can do to dry it. All right, so this is how it started. Okay, so let's go ahead and dry it as best we can. I might have to splotch up some, pick up some of the ink with the tissue. All right, here we go. Give me a minute, guys. I'll get some of it dried and some splots I'll try to blob up. Because the splots that I just threw down, they take a while. Thanks everybody for stopping in. I wanted to do this because I stream so long on Mondays that I get into night doing my Inktober's on Mondays. So let me just go ahead and take the time to dry this, guys. Hey, Lulu. Anybody else popping in? Lynn? Julie P? But is her ink washable? No, I just throw it in the water over here and squish it out and clean them out with water. They clean out with water. Yeah. The ink, yeah. That's why I'm always having to make sure I clean out my water dish, my water thing, because it's always got black ink in it this month. Anonymous 9145, whomever you may be. Alright, I'm going to try to make sure I get this as dry as I can, the splots, because I'll be the first one to drag my arm through a splotch. Hey, Emerald. Anybody else? Hang on, it's getting there. But when you think the ink is dry, it really never is. So, just give me a minute. Okay, I'm going to start warping my paper even more than normal if I'm not careful. Okay. All right, so I do need to get a little calligraphy pen to write Poe. Let me take a sip of coffee. Oh, God, it's cold. All right, so these aren't all my pens, but nibs, but this is the bulk of the ones I use when I use them. And let me show this again, though, because it's so cute. Queen Pam made this, and I know I've shown it before. She made this little corrugate nib. It's got a little metallic closure, and it's all covered with like packing tape. Okay. So it's my nib holder. Look at this, guys. This is made by Queen Pam. She does have a YouTube channel. I think it's Elon QP Elon. I'm not sure if somebody knows her link, but anyway, if you look up Queen Pam and Elon, ELON, in YouTube, you should find her. But anyway, she made this for me a few years ago, and it's just corrugate cardboard, and so you can see inside the corrugate is little, there's slots. Well, that's where I can put my nibs, and it's like tiered, so you can see all of them. And she did say she did not invent this, that she found it on Pinterest or somewhere, but she made me one, so it's from her for me. Been wondering how you do these. Thanks for doing well. Oh, you're welcome, Book Nester. Yeah. Okay, so look how cool that is. That's her little business card there. Isn't that awesome? I know. Isn't it, Julie Topaz? So this is where I keep, my extra nibs are in here. Oh, look, a street light with a cat. There we go. There's an idea. Halloween idea. So anyway, yeah, I love that. And it's got the little metallic closure. So yeah, they all fit in. It's just made out of corrugate. So anyway, but I have some here with already got some nibs in them too. So I want to find a kind of a small one because I'm just going to write Poe in there. But I want it to show up. That might be too big. Let's get one smaller, I think. Yeah. You can see I'm not really good on cleaning. The ink builds up. I need a little bit more, just a touch ink. And I just use whatever ink. I got, this one here, but I can show you 5, 6 different kinds I use. I'm not real particular, but yeah. All right, so I'm just going to drag out some ink here. I'm going to get a little piece of, let's get something to get it started on. All right. You got kicked off. Now I have another number. I know. It's going to be frustrating. All right, so I'm just going to write Poe in here. I think I'll do, what kind of E do I want? I don't know if I want the harsh uppercase or kind of a softer lowercase. I'll go with the uppercase here because it fits around the O. I want it kind of creepy, so maybe I'll just do this kind of like that. A little bit more drippy, like. I think I'll do it on this one too. Something like this. What do y'all think? Does that look kind of cool? Okay, because that's all I'm going to do calligraphy-wise. And I have not put any words on any of my Inktobers. But, all right, let me move this out of the way so I have some space. All righty. All right, let me hit that with the heat gun and dry it so I'm not running my arm through it. Creepy cool. Thanks, Terry Trouble. All right, now let me move my ink out of the way. I think everything's dry, hopefully. So the next thing I usually do that I've been doing, because they're all similar, they all have the same shape, and I've kind of gone with the same type of thing on every one. The next thing I usually do is like if there's any white areas where I've drawn the line here, I'll take my Pentel pocket brush here, and that's when I, will make a thicker line on any areas that don't have one. I'm not going to put one there or there because I just want to leave it like that. And let's see, I think I'll go ahead and I'm going to have to go get some hot coffee, guys. Something like that. And I want this a little straight there. All right. And so the same thing with any areas that I want to really get in there. And now remember, I'm going to use my Posca pen too here. You can use, it's technically acrylic, but whatever. You can use, gel pens, whatever. However, depends on how thick or thin you want your lines to be if you have white. So this is going to be a feather right here. Was it going to be a feather? No, there's nothing there. Okay, let's cover that up. That's a feather there, a feather there. Okay. So I'm just kind of getting any areas I might have missed. Get in here nice and tight with the pocket pen to leave just a little bit of white. It's just nice and pointy. Yeah, Sherry's. It was Sherry's idea. This is going to, when I get done here, I'll probably do a little bit of a drip here too. This is going to be a pin nib in there. It will be eventually. Okay. Right now, I'm just taking a little bit of time to go around, get real close, because I just want a nice little bit of a white highlight around him. And I'll probably have a few feathers like fluffing out from around him too. I do need to erase all my blue sketchy lines. I can see them. You probably can't, but I want to erase those. Okay. So the next thing I like to do when I'm doing these is that keeps them all consistent is a sketchy line around the, so then I'll just use a Sharpie pen or a small, they're basically the same thing to me, look. A small pit brush pen or a Sharpie. Now that's a Sharpie pen. The Sharpie pens don't go through the paper like a marker does, okay? That's wrong. So I'll pick up whichever one is just handy. All right, so now I'm going to do a few things. I go ahead and do, I'm going to go get some coffee in a minute. I do like a sketchy kind of line all around the edge because I just kind of like that. I don't know if it's like an Edward Gorey look. Again, you know, I don't really do a lot of inking except in Inktober. Like that. So he just gives it a little sketchy kind of line around the edge. And then I also do it around any kind of ink drop I have, any kind of a blob. And then I usually pick out a few little blobs just to mess with, you know, like that. Gory-ish. Edward Gorey. I showed his book last week. See something like that? All right, so now the first thing I want to do is go ahead and I want to fix my, because I just did a blob, remember? I want his pen to show. And I'll let this set for a second. Might have to put 2 coats because I am going over that black blob, and put a little pen nib quill, you know, the little line in there that holds the ink, or lets the ink drop out, I should say. Something like this. All the details, will go back and look for them in your other Inktober. Oh, thanks, Book Nester. Okay, now a couple things. One, I wanted this to have a feather kind of floating this way. This one's going to kind of float this way, and this one will kind of float that way. So let me go ahead and get the background kind of. Now I'm going to have to let that dry or hit it with the heat gun before I go on top of that with white. So while that's kind of drying for a second, I'm going to go in here on my Poe. There's going to be a feather there, and there's going to be a feather there. And then I'll decide where, after I do the feathers, where all the little cracks, some little cracks in the tombstone. See, because you can still see my pencil lines. All the pencil lines will be erased. Cool nibbage, yeah. So let's see, like something like this, see? Just so you can tell it's a pen. And then, you know, I can get in there and sharpen it up too. Get all those little details real tight. Like if I want this thinner, I can make it thinner. Black splots around it. All right, let me do this feather here. All right, so if you can see, probably not, but going right over Poe's name. I'll hold it up to the camera in a second. It thins out at the tip here, so you can see that side. A couple thicker ones in there. Okay, let's do this one. All right, let me go ahead and dry this so I can erase any blue lines now. So I don't want to be smearing anything, and I'm still always watching to see if any of my ink splots smear. I'm trying to be careful not to, because then I have to really try to paint those out, and I don't really want to do that. So just erasing my blue sketch, and it is around the bird and everywhere. It's tail feathers. All right, did I get it all? All right, now, hey Lisa. All right, now I want to do the white feather and the white bits of the feather that are in the black. So I'm just going to kind of just do the same thing, but I'm just going to add a couple of little, like that. I'm going to do the same thing right here. Okay. Okay, needs a little thinner there. Okay, so the same thing for this one. I'm going to draw this feather here, coming around. I probably should have done this with the gel pen because this is a little thick for a tiny wispy feather, but we're going to go for it now. Couple of kind of stray ones. Something like that. They almost look like feather skeletons. Feather skeletons. Okay. Now, let's go back in here with a Sharpie pen and let's get in here on the top here in the little claws. Sharpen all this up nice. Do some little cracks and stuff in the Poe. See? Make it a little raggedy edge over here too. Maybe do a little extra line around the Poe name, like it's kind of set in. little dimensional there. Awesome feather. Thanks, guys. Okay, so let's do a couple more cracks here. Let's don't overdo the cracking. Crack-a-lacking, yes. Just a little bit here. Something like that. All right, let's, I think I'm going to go ahead and go around the bird in the black so I can sharpen this up. His little claw is back on this side there. And I'll sharpen this up and make the white smaller with the black pen. But we got to have them kind of showing up in the dark. I'm going to have some feathers coming out too, but let's sharpen that up now. I just want a very, very, very thin line around the bird. I'm not really paying too much attention in chat, guys. If you have questions, put them in caps. Dee Dee's peeps always ebb and flow. People come and go. Very poetic there, Julie Topaz. Just saying. See how I want to keep that very, very thin? I think especially around his claws here. So I'm just getting real tight in there with the pen. Anyway, I hope y'all find this a little fun. It's probably not as fun as me reading the history of the colors by this. If y'all missed part 1, well, actually part 2, but this is part 3. Anyway, the veritable hokum.com, where we read the history of the colors, that was so fun. I enjoyed that. Kate the Skate sent that in. So I'm going to get this very thin. Can you please send me your reasons? Oh. Like I said, I should have done this with the white gel pen instead of the Posca, but all right, let's see here. All right, now I want a few feathers and things. Let me look at my flying bird again, get some reference here. I want a few. I don't want it to be really every feather showing. I want it to be almost silhouetted like this, but I do want a few. Let's see if I can do this without. And I want them kind of creepy. I mean, I don't want them smooth like, you see most bird feathers. I want them to be very feathery like that. So, just want a few feathers coming around here and there. Give it a little oomph. if I get too many here, I'll just paint them back out, but I don't even want an eye on him. Let's fix this claw here. Just got a few little white splotches on his face so you can kind of indicate an eye. Oh, I didn't let that dry. I gotta let that dry before I go in there. I'm actually thinking I want that whole claw to be just white. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to black that whole thing out and dry it and go over it with just white. Something like that. Maybe a little extra creepy, nubby kind of thing there, like that. Like that better. All right, let's see here. I don't want to overdo it. I don't want to overwork it, you know? See, like that's too much right there. Oops. Let's fix this. Yep. Okay, I think I'm good, guys. The only thing I might want to do is maybe just make a little bit more. You know, kind of creepy feathers at the end here. Looks great. Oh, thanks, guys. You know, we're winging it. Get that kind of. Did you get this all done? Yes. We've been here an hour, about an hour and 10 minutes. Sketched it, inked it, signing it. And today's day 24. So we've done 24 Inktobers so far. All right, so there we go. See, it kind of looks like a skeleton, you know? That's what I liked about it. So there we go, guys. There's my Inktober for today. Hopefully y'all enjoyed watching it. And yeah, I'll save this one and we'll start. I got to go get some coffee though before I start another video. So yeah, so that's Inktober day 24. And I'll post it later. Thanks, guys. You watch all the time. Your husband, you forget to put it all in caps. Oh, well, good to see you, Bama girl. Thanks, guys. All right, I'll be right back, guys. Let me save this one and go get some coffee, and I'll be right back.